Folks, they're demanding action now. Analysts and advocacy groups are pushing for the federal government to pass a new bill that will provide you guys with some huge stimulus cash. And the good thing is that Joe Biden is ready to give people the stimulus checks that everyone's been calling for. Now, a large county in Texas had voted to implement a new guaranteed basic income program. This is in Harris County, Texas. It includes Houston and has approved a new payment program called Uplift. It will provide $500 monthly checks for a year and a half to the $1,500 residents, and the payments will cost $20.5 million, taken from the $915 million that the county received in the federal crisis funding. So we see now that people are starting to get more stimulus cash, but the good thing is that Joe Biden is ready to send out a big stimulus payment this year. Folks, do you think that Joe Biden is ready for the federal government to send out the stimulus checks, and do you support Joe Biden's thoughts and work on the fourth stimulus? Well, here's some more news and information on this. Democratic-controlled Harris County is going to do this for 4 months. Now, one of the mayors for the city is actually proving that the guaranteed income recipients are going to get a ton of more stimulus cash. Mayor Evans has approved a new relief program. He says that the guaranteed basic income program will be transformational, not just for the people and families that benefit, but for the city as well. And the program will provide $200 to $500 monthly payments to 351 people over 1 year with no strings attached. And the program is the culmination of 2 years of work. The city committed $2.2 million in federal crisis relief dollars just to fund this program, and it listed the support of local and national agencies to help develop the program too. The first payment that was ever conducted and will be conducted is going to be in October. But 4 years after Stockton conducted nationally watched experiments, it gave 125 households $500 a month with no strings attached. Dozens of programs throughout California are testing the data for a guaranteed income program. Even the Cal Matters identified more than 40 similar pilot programs that have run and operating on at least plan to launch around the state. They're sending certain groups of low-income people regular, unrestricted, free stimulus cash, and this is going to do wonders for the American people that are begging for stimulus cash, not indexed for inflation, plus thus requiring them to pay more taxes on part of their Social Security benefit. Many who had not paid taxes on their benefits in the past are going to have to go through this. With that being said, a Social Security policy analyst has told Yahoo Finance that even as inflation moderates, it will be more difficult for lower and modest income seniors and those who have been retired to dig out of the shortfall between what Social Security beneficiaries received over the past 2 years. And this effect of actual inflation is going to not be good, because according to the SSA, nearly 9 out of 10 people aged 65 and older receive Social Security benefits. Among the elderly Social Security beneficiaries, 12% of men and 15% of women are on Social Security for 90% of their income. For the typical retiree, it covers about half the retirement income. Seniors overall have been feeling the gap for months now. Last fall, nearly 2 out of 5 of the 1,500 retirees had this problem. The Senior Citizens League reported that their standard of living had worsened since March 2020, and they had depleted savings faster than planned. Roughly the same percentage that they had no savings and had piled on debt and had tackled low-income assistance programs. So when the Social Security Administration, the federal government agency that oversees the benefit, announced the increase for this year, the largest since 1980, when the COLA was 11%, there was a resounding echo of applause. And that's because it raised the average type benefit by more than $140 a month. Even the adjustment, coupled with a decrease in Medicare Part B premiums, was expected to make a significant difference in making ends meet for more than 70 million senior citizens. The expansion would be financed by consolidating other tax benefits, including a significant revamp of the Earned Income Tax Credit. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimates the number of children living in poverty would decline by 1 million under the Romney proposal, and the roughly 20 million children families making less than $50,000 would be better off by this. Analysts have also argued that roughly 10 million people will be worse off under the Romney plan, due in part to its proposed cuts. So, hopefully President Biden can do something about this. We got some bad news. Some really big changes are actually coming to monthly benefits soon. Officials have always confirmed that millions of Americans are at risk of losing health insurance in just a few weeks, and very important details have been announced. So be sure to keep watching, because we got a ton of information about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. You definitely don't want to miss out on this, because there's a ton of information that we got. So, like I said, the Biden administration is telling healthcare providers to begin preparing for an end to the public crisis emergency. the change will have broad implications for Medicaid health insurance recipients, and it could significantly impact how hospitals and pharmaceuticals operate. The health secretary told reporters on a call that how the United States manages this crisis will provide crucial data on whether the emergency needs to remain in place. The Health and Human Services Department will give the public 60 days notice before lifting the crisis emergency. His comments come after President Biden claimed in September that the crisis is over. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services told healthcare providers in August to start preparing for a return to pre-crisis rules as soon as possible. The crisis emergency was first declared by the former president in January 2020, and the health emergency has allowed millions of people to receive increased food benefits through the federal government nutrition program. And when the public health emergency does end, the Health and Human Services Department estimates up to 15 million people will be disenrolled from Medicare and health insurance programs. Nutrition experts fear that millions of families will face a hunger cliff. The most dramatic impact from ending the health emergency will fall on people enrolled in Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is known as CHIP. Medicaid provides inexpensive and often free health insurance to lower-income adults. Medicaid enrollment increased 26% during the crisis to a record of more than 90 million people as of June. States received extra federal money through the Families First Crisis Response Act for Medicaid and CHIP on the condition that they be kept all current and new recipients enrolled during this public health crisis. And before the crisis even began, people had to renew their Medicaid coverage every year, but confirming to state officials that they still met income and other eligibility requirements. Medicaid and CHIP will return to business as usual when the crisis emergency ends. States will have 14 months to verify who is eligible and who is not, but an estimated 15 million people will still have to leave the program. Officials have said that about 7 million people lose Medicaid coverage, and not only that, but despite being eligible for the program, they will get this. House Minority Kevin McCarthy has sought to tamp down worries that a GOP majority would use a raising federal debt ceiling as leverage to secure reforms on government programs like Social Security and Medicare. McCarthy, who is hoping to be Speaker if Republicans take control of the House, told reporters in an interview that Republicans will try to get concessions on spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt limit, a must-pass pressure measure in order to avoid economic turmoil. The question came as a follow-up that some House Republicans suggested reforms to programs like Social Security and Medicare could be on the table in a debt limit debate. Democrats also blasted McCarthy's remarks with Nancy Pelosi in press conference, saying it was confirmation of GOP plans to change debt limit force to put their plans through and slash Medicare and Social Security for all. But many people rely on Social Security as their only source of income, so hopefully President Biden can fix this and help out the American people who need stimulus payments and who need Social Security benefits and who need stimulus money as soon as possible. We need to see President Biden's stimulus very, very soon. I know many of you are wondering what the status is of the $2,000 stimulus checks, as well as who can expect to receive